The impact of the Renaissance and Reformation. What changes occurred in Europe during the Renaissance and Reformation? Florence, Italy, one of the world's most beautiful cities. Its buildings stand as noble reminders of a glorious past and testament to the amazing period of artistic genius known as the Renaissance. By the late 1300s, the horrors of the plague that had taken some 25 million lives had passed. For the first time in decades, people could worry less about dying and focus more on living. They turned to art, literature, music, and learning. This shift in priorities was felt most keenly in Italy, where a steady stream of goods flowed into several major ports and where local economies began to thrive. With trade brisk, merchants and bankers were getting rich, and in many cases, individual families rose to prominence, wielding enough power and wealth to control government. In Florence, it was the Medici family that reigned. By 1434, Cosimo de' Medici ruled over the city. In an effort to boost its prestige and allure, he hired painters and sculptors to decorate his palace. He employed the best architects to redesign the city's buildings. Florence blossomed and soon became the center of Italian art, literature, and culture. During medieval times, scholars and artists generally focused their studies and subjects strictly on God. But the Renaissance rekindled a strong interest in the classical works of the ancient Greeks and Romans, and also a new focus on human beings themselves. This way of thinking was called humanism. Newly inspired Italian artists created stunningly beautiful paintings and sculptures, works that reflected the new sense of appreciation for human life and form. One of the greatest of these artists, Michelangelo, sculpted the breathtaking David out of marble and painted stories from the Bible on the ceiling of the Vatican's Sistine Chapel. Then there was Leonardo da Vinci, the epitome of the Renaissance man, expert painter, sculptor, architect, inventor, and engineer. To make his artwork more true to life, Leonardo studied anatomy and even dissected corpses. His paintings combine realistic form and mysterious expression. By the 1500s, new ways of thinking had spread beyond Italy to much of the rest of Europe. In Central Europe, people began to question and criticize the all-powerful Catholic Church, launching a reform movement that came to be called the Protestant Reformation. In 1517, a German priest named Martin Luther nailed a list of his complaints, known as the 95 Theses, to a church door for all to see. Although beloved by many, Luther was branded a heretic, and Pope Leo X expelled him from the Roman Catholic Church. Eventually, this led to a historic split from the Catholic Church. Those who broke with the Church became known as Protestants. The continued interest in humanism, which had helped define the Renaissance, sparked other movements as well. For example, some people wanted to know more about the physical world around them and turned towards science and reason for answers. The Polish astronomer Nicholas Copernicus was the first to claim that the Earth revolves around the sun, not the other way around. The Italian astronomer Galileo was the first to use a telescope to gaze up at the skies. Galileo published his observations, which verified Copernicus's theory. Copernicus and Galileo heralded the start of the scientific revolution and a thirst for knowledge that continues today. Our intellectual communities owe a debt of gratitude to the Renaissance and the bold affirmation of the human spirit that defined it. How have the Renaissance and Reformation influenced art and religion?